morning, everyone. If everybody can have a seat, we're going to start. Yes, this is a great morning, a terrific morning. Beautiful weather. It got warmer again. I'll wait 1 minute for everybody to take their seats. Turn off their cell phones. Good. Good morning, everyone. I'm Lori Vinacore, President of the Alliance of Delray Residential Associations. Can you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have our Executive Vice President, Arnie Katz, here to announce our guests.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you all for being here. Happy New Year to you all. Before I start with the names, let me just tell you something that's personal, but it affects us all. I hope we don't all forget about COVID. We have a tendency, because COVID's main force is behind us, to forget about it and be flippant about it and our activities. I just found out last night my entire family in California has COVID, and they have all been vaccinated and boosted. So please, let's be careful. Let's share all the good days and with a big smile on our face and hope that 2023 is a better year for us. Thank you. These are our guests that are attending this morning, and we appreciate you all being here. Tisha Budu from the Outreach Center, Lois Frankel's office. Ed Saul from Maria Sachs's office. Keith McIntosh from the Tax Collector's office. Victoria Nolan, Legislative Director. Janea Morado from the Legislative Delegation. Caitlin Joyce, Palm Beach Commissioner Woodward's office. Nicole Carson, Supervisor of Elections office. Hilda Ojeda from the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser's office. Leslie Schreiber from PBSO. Major Chris Keene, PBSO. Amy Chamberlain from Representative Skidmore's office. Thank you all for being here, and welcome everybody.
Wow, yes, we start out with hearing from our first responders, and then we hear from our elected officials. I see our new Commissioner, Marcy Woodward's here. Great to see you. You'll be up in a few minutes. Thank you so much for coming. Just a few things to talk about that we did this month. First of all, we got Lexington Club their sign for yield to right turns. U-turn yields to right turn. We worked with the Department of Transportation to get that for them. And there was some trash on 441, a big pile. Wow, we worked with the code enforcement and with Solid Waste Authority, and that was there for a while, but it was gone 3 days after we notified the authorities there. And thanks to our members from Saturnia Isles and Tierra del Rey that worked with that. There's going to be more about the Agricultural Reserve. You'll read about it in the newsletters that everybody should be getting a hard copy, all of our representatives, and by email, our whole email list. There is going to be more workshops, so you'll be hearing more about that in the future. What we are working to do is just to keep the environmental and social impact lower in the Agricultural Reserve, just working on that to keep the newest changes that are happening to a minimum to really support the environment and the residents of the Agricultural Reserve. Well, we have Lieutenant John Wink. Great to see you.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a good holiday season. A couple of brief updates from our office. Debbie's just finished up our hotspot initiative, addressing all the shopping plazas. Debbie spent over 1,100 patrol hours just spending time in the shopping center preventing any crime. So I'm pleased to bring to your attention that there was nothing significant that happened in the West Delray area this holiday season, and very happy about that. One of our goals for 2023 is to reduce the traffic crashes. All right, so we're going to do that by more enforcement. I need you guys' help. Please leave yourself enough time. Get to wherever you're going early. Put down the cell phones while you're driving, and be safe out there while you're driving. I had a quick question for you guys. Have any of you guys been a victim of being scammed, or know anybody that's been scammed? If you have, please raise your hand. Mostly everybody in this room. So we got a good event for you. Thursday, March 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. here at the Civic Center. We're going to be putting on a scam event to how to out-scam the scammers. So please do me a favor. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your communities to please attend this event. We're going to have a detective. Lots of good, useful information is going to be presented at that time. I look forward to seeing you there. All right. Thank you so much, and stay safe out there.
We will announce that. Thank you so much. We will put that in our newsletter and on our email. There is also another, you have the property insurance town hall meeting with Representative Skidmore in the West Point Library on Monday, January 9th. That should be very interesting and helpful for everyone that wants to learn about issues with the property insurance. We now have Chief Bill Stansberry.
Hello everybody, just wanted to give a quick update on Battalion 4 fire stations. There's 8 stations in the western Boynton Delray area. I'm the district chief, I oversee those. December, our call volume was very busy. We were the busiest battalion in all of Palm Beach County. We had about 3,500 calls. Just in comparison, Battalion 2, which is the Wellington Acreage Royal Palm area, they had 1,500. So we ran about 2,000 more calls than the western community just because we're a lot of population. So we're here to help and serve you guys, and we got right now Station 45 on Linton and Jog is being renovated. We're putting some additional room in there to upstaff it completely, and then we have plans for the western area, which is on Lyons and Flavor Pig. We'll be bringing a temporary station out there as soon as we can get all the permitting. And originally it's just going to be a trailer, and then we'll plan in the future to build a full-time station out on Lyons Road, so we have a station west of the Turnpike, which will help call volume-wise. And during the holiday season, I don't remember hearing any calls regarding any Christmas trees or anything that caught on fire. And hurricane is now over, but there is no significant CO calls in the area that I remember hearing about, so everyone did a good job keeping track of that. So thank you, and we're here to help.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your updates, which are always in the meeting summaries that we send out right after the meeting. And remember, this is being actually videotaped as well. That will be on our website homepage. Remember, next month, this is going to be a really big thing. February 1st, Wednesday. You have the flyers right there at your tables. Get to know Palm Beach County. There's going to be more than 30 divisions and departments from Palm Beach County that will be here. We're also going to have a little celebration. There'll still be breakfast items for us all. You'll be able to speak one-on-one with lots of departments, and also we're going to have a selfie booth. And come and bring your friends. Make sure you advertise this big time. Let's have a lot of people come here. It's going to be in the newspaper. You'll be reading about it in the Palm Beach Post and the Sun Sentinel as well. We now have our elected officials give 2-minute updates usually, and we have Marcy Woodward, our newest commissioner, here. Before we have our mayors, we're going to hear from Marcy Woodward, our newest commissioner, District 4. It's in part of our area, definitely, and also, and Boca Raton, but also part of Delray Beach. As a matter of fact, our South County Mental Health Center is in your district, and I'm president of South County Mental Health Center. Go ahead. Nice to see you.
Can you hear me? Are you on?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Marcy Woodward. Pleasure to be here. My first meeting to attend here. Like she said, I represent District 4, which is East Boca, parts of Delray, Boynton Beach, and then up the coast. I'm very pleased to be here. I have 2 staff members here, Caitlin and Yalen. Where are you guys? Wait, oh, over here to the side. I'm happy to know that you're having this event. I actually have Josie tasked with getting a lot of this information together. I hope to hold some town halls in the district, especially for seniors, letting them know of different services that we have as a county. I know a lot of my district doesn't necessarily need financial support, but a lot of you need support as far as spam alerts. Watching guardianship, I know is a big problem that's coming around here where there's some predatory things happening. And I look forward to working with law enforcement and working out to reach with the communities. And also, I don't know if anyone knows that we do have a workshop coming up in March to talk about the Ag Reserve. I know it's very important for a lot of people here, and I've reached out to staff, and I'm also asking community members to participate in this, because as you know, the Ag Reserve from 20 years ago and what it is now may not be what it was envisioned, but I'm asking for as much support and information I can get from the community, and anyone affected to this, anyone who has strong opinions on this, to also reach out to my office and take meetings before the workshop if anyone would like to reach out. Other than that, they're going to be here. I do have to leave right after this, but I appreciate your time, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you for attending today. Well, right now, of course, we have a breakfast sponsor, ADT. So we give a little 2-minute commercial before we have our main presentation. So we have Darian Samuels here from ADT to say a few words. We all know ADT, right? They do a great job in our communities.
Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. I just wanted to thank everyone for letting us be a sponsor this morning. I'm Darian Samuels. I work with the Community Association Program. So I know that we monitor a lot of associations here today. But if you have any issues, you want to talk about security, I'll be here. I have my cards with me, and I want to thank you again. Have a good year.
Thank you for sponsoring the breakfast. Well, now we have our main presenters here. We are very excited today to have the 2 mayors, Mayor of Palm Beach County, Greg Weiss, and our Mayor of Delray Beach, Shelley Petrolia. Thank you for coming. The way we're going to work it is our first speaker is the Mayor of Palm Beach County, Greg Weiss, and it should be followed by Shelley Petrolia, the Mayor of Delray Beach, who is going to be showing a PowerPoint presentation. And Mayor Weiss is going to speak first, and then Mayor Petrolia is going to have a PowerPoint for her presentation. Mayor Greg Weiss, born and raised in Southern California. Oh, yes. He's from the University of California in Irvine. He holds degrees in economics and social ecology. He sailed the world, you know. And when he came to Palm Beach County, he settled here with his wife, and we're happy he did. He's been an exemplary commissioner and vice mayor last year, and we're happy to have him re-elected this year for his district as commissioner, and now as mayor of Palm Beach County. Please help me welcome Mayor Greg Weiss.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see, can I move this a little bit? So I have to stand behind.
You could stand right in the middle.
All right, good. Yeah, I can be out and see y'all. How is everybody doing this morning? Good to see you. Happy New Year, and I want to thank Lori and your board for inviting me today, and it's a pleasure to join you. I've been a Palm Beach County Commissioner now for 4 years, but it's my first time coming to one of your meetings, so I'm very happy to be with you this morning. I want to thank ADT for the great refreshments this morning. I understand that was your donation, and I want to acknowledge our friends and in law enforcement and first responders from our fire department and the great work that they do keeping us all safe in our homes and throughout our community. I also want to acknowledge from my office is Virginia Savietto, who is over there on my right, your left. If you have any issues that need to come to the mayor's office or me in general, please feel free to reach out to us. You know, it's there's a lot going on, and I think is Vicki still here, Vicki Nolan? Oh, there she is in the back. I have a note here. I'm supposed to make a pitch, so before I bore you to death and you forget about everything that I say, I want to make sure that I do this for her. And one of the things she asked me to let you all know is we have Palm Beach County Day coming up. That's at the beginning of session. That's going to be on March, I believe it's 7th and 8th. Did I get that right? Yes, I did. 7th and 8th, that'll be coming up. And we'd love to have you guys join us. If you haven't been before, it's really a great opportunity to meet not only with our local delegation that is up there and pushing forward our priorities, but also with leadership in the legislature as well. So it's a great opportunity. We get together and as a community, and this is something unique to Palm Beach County, that we show up with everybody. So whether it's the school district, the county, the cities, everybody goes together when we have one agenda. And that's to make things better for our residents here in Palm Beach County in the state of Florida. So I encourage you to sign up for that if you have the opportunity to do so. So let's talk about Palm Beach County a little bit and what's going on. I hope today you leave here knowing a little bit more than when you came in, but I also hope that you leave here feeling that you are living in one of the most spectacular places on the planet, that we are trying to make this the best place possible for everybody. Because what we're talking about is not just my story, it's your story. It's as a community, it's our story. And that's what we do, is trying to make this a better place for us all, so that people have an opportunity to lead the best possible lives the way they decide they want to lead that life. But we create an environment where everybody has that opportunity. So some of the big issues that are facing us, and it's going to be no surprise, I think, to any of you. Big one, obviously, is housing. Housing and homelessness in our community. I know it's hard to imagine living in this great place, especially out in the western communities, that we have an issue with homelessness. But we do. I live near downtown West Palm Beach. I represent the central part of the county in my district. And homelessness is an issue for us. We have people that are living on the streets for a variety of reasons. It could be because of substance use and addiction. It could be mental health or a combination thereof of substance use and mental health issues. And it could be an economic situation where, you know, a bill came up, they couldn't afford to both pay the bill and the rent, and you see families, unfortunately, living in their cars. And that's not, I don't think that's acceptable to any of us, that people don't have an opportunity to have a decent place to lay their head at night that's safe and secure for them and their families. So, you know, the board has been working hard on this for a number of years. It's not a surprise. We've seen this coming for a while, but it was exacerbated by COVID. And it got exacerbated because we've seen prices go up in ways we had never, I think, ever imagined in the housing costs here and rents. And that's being driven by an influx of people wanting to come to our part of the world, paradise. So a couple of things that we've done and we will continue to work on is making sure that we require, at least within Palm Beach County, unincorporated, that there is affordable housing component. Anything built in our community, more than 10 homes, requires a commitment from who the builder is to build affordable housing. And what you've seen happen in some recently in the Ag Reserve, we came up for the first time. There was no affordable housing requirement for any homes that were built in the Ag Reserve previously. And so last year, we, for the first time, enacted a requirement for affordable housing, or created a category of workforce housing that will be allowed to be built in very specific areas within the Ag Reserve. But that's because you now have 25,000 people that are living out in that area, and they need people that support them, whether it's working in their yards, working in their houses, working in their stores, or working in some of the businesses that are around there. We've got hospitals now that we didn't have a few years ago, and those people all need a place to live, and they shouldn't be driving hours across this county to get to work and back home. So you'll continue to see us working on that. Thank you very much if you voted for the housing bond. We passed a $200 million housing bond in the last election. So let's talk about how that's going to work and what the purpose of that $200 million. Will it solve our housing crisis? Absolutely not. I'm not going to stand in front of you and tell you it's going to be the solution, but it's part of the solution. And what it will do is it's going to be used in a revolving loan fund that folks that want to build the workforce and affordable housing products can borrow money from. So they'll get a loan for those units, and then that money will be repaid back over time or when the development is sold. The restriction on those units, though, is going to last for 30 years. So whether they're rental or they're for sale units, they'll have a restriction put on their deeds, and when they get sold, or if he pay back over time, that money will be able to be reused for the next group of homes to help support it. So there's a number of things that have happened. There was a story in the newspaper not too long ago talking about we missed some opportunities for creating additional low-cost housing in our community. And I go back to, and how many people were around here in 2008, 2010? How many of you lived around here? Lots of you. Okay, so you remember what it was like. I don't think this is going to be a surprise, but you couldn't give away houses in Palm Beach County. People were walking away from their homes after the financial crisis. So did the board absolve some people from having to make that contribution back then? They did. That is true. But the market was in a very different place. It was a different time and a different situation. And, do we regret it now? Probably. Should have maybe done something different. But what I will tell you is, right now, there are over 10,000 subsidized housing units in Palm Beach County. Some of that came from our inclusionary zoning. Some has been contributed by our local municipalities. And some of it has been funded through state and federal programs. So there's over 10,000 units, but we know that there's a big shortage, and we'll continue to focus on that. We recently broke ground on our third homeless resource center. We acquired our second homeless resource center out in the Glades area last year, and this year we broke ground on our newest homeless resource center, and that's going to be in Lake Worth, unincorporated Lake Worth, over by the senior center if you haven't been there. So we're working to both help those that need to transition from the streets to homes, but those that are actually working to have a place that they can afford so that they can live here in Palm Beach County, and we have a diverse population that we can support here. Public safety. Key to any of our communities is to have a safe, secure environment. And I will tell you, our board has fully funded the Sheriff's Office for the 4 years that I've been serving. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to make sure that they are fully funded and supported so that they can take care of our community. And the same with our fire rescue folks. If we don't feel secure in our homes or when we're in our communities, what's the point, really? We want to be in a safe, secure place, and law enforcement has made sure that we have that kind of community. And I will tell you, they've made some big steps, too, in helping keep people safe, whether it's an emergency because of potential overdose, or whether it's an emergency because of a mental health crisis. And I want to talk to you about two programs the Sheriff's Office recently has put in place that we wholeheartedly support and fund. And that is, number one, all sheriff deputies that would like to can carry Narcan with them. And so if they're first on scene, it can help administer that, keep people alive till fire rescue gets to the scene. But fire rescue now has 3 men on the truck. That was something else that we funded to make sure that when you're, I don't know if you understand, when you need to get help, you need to have 2 people in the back. One person is administering your first aid or whatever medical needs you have. The other one that has to be recording all of that, because all that information needs to be able to be recorded to share with the hospital when you arrive, that they have all that up-to-date information of what's transpired so that they can immediately assist you. As we look at on the public health side, the Sheriff's Office has developed a really interesting and I think innovative approach to helping keep our communities safe. And that's by deploying mental health professionals with law enforcement officers. So if they get a call, they've got these behavioral health teams will go out with the law enforcement officer, come onto the scene, and be able to help potentially diffuse a situation. So something in the past that may have ended in really tragic circumstances can be avoided, and that we can address these issues, because so much of, unfortunately, of what we deal with can be traced back to somebody having some kind of a mental health breakdown or an issue going on. So as mayor of Palm Beach County, I will tell you it's one of my priorities, and is to make sure that we have the behavioral health resources that we need. Early on, when I was elected, we saw Jerome Golden Center fold. I don't know if you remember that. With 2 weeks' notice, hundreds of people were put out on the street without their medications, without their medical information, and we said never again. We want to make sure that we never have a situation like that again in Palm Beach County. So that'll continue to be a priority. Again, not surprising, the environment and what that means to us. And as we talk about the environment, it can be anything from our water supply, our drainage systems, our storm drainage, because at times we get a lot of water, we don't need it, and we have to have a way to move it safely and keep it away from people. But we also have the need for clean water, both for ourselves, but also for our environment, and making sure that we're putting in place the policies and programs that will ensure that. One of the things that I've worked on and I'm proud to have as part of my district is we have these islands now that are coming up, and I don't know, any of you come down to, sometimes referred to the Intercoastal, the Lake Worth Lagoon, down, it goes all the way from Boynton Beach all the way up through Jupiter, and you see that waterway. Well, you'll see islands coming up out of the water. Very unusual, but years ago when the Intercoastal was and roads were being built, they dredged in there, and they created these sinkholes where things wouldn't grow or couldn't live because it got too far down and you need sunlight for the plants. We are building islands. We're partnering with folks from Florida Inland Navigation, the Marine Institute. You name the department, and they're probably somehow involved if they have any natural environment policies that we have been able to partner with to build these islands and saving a tremendous amount of money while we're doing it. But what we've done is these islands that we have built now support habitat for, and it wasn't originally thought that that was what was going to happen, but they can support habitat now. So we see nesting birds that we haven't seen in years coming back to Palm Beach County. But the other thing that it does is it provides habitat within the water. So plants can grow near these islands. Plants can grow on the islands in parts of them where we allow that to happen. And then we also put in sea life in there as well. So oysters, which are really important to help filter our water. So we're restoring the habitat. It was controversial early on, but I will tell you, the community has embraced this and has wholeheartedly supported it, and we're seeing our efforts paying off. The water is cleaner than we've ever seen in the central part of the lagoon. And you're seeing, again, we're seeing habitat restored and returned, and So something I think we should all be very proud of. I certainly am, but you should be proud. You are putting our tax dollars to work in partnership to improve our environment here. That's happening out in the western part of our community as well, in working, to ensure that we are working on Lake Okeechobee, as well as our local canal system. Because remember, anything that goes into those canals eventually gets somewhere, either into the intercoastal or out to the ocean. And we want to make sure that we're keeping those water bodies clean and safe as well, because we know where they're going to end up. So that's an important topic as well, and we'll continue to focus on that. I think one of the other points I want to talk about this morning with you is our infrastructure. And I know that's all important to you all. And when we talk about infrastructure, we're talking about our roads, our bridges, traffic, whether it's our airport, our wastewater, all of it is all part of our infrastructure. And in Palm Beach County, as you know, we're a big county. We have a lot of it, but we also are leaders, and we're very progressive in making sure we handle these issues of community life in a thoughtful and meaningful way. So let me just talk trash with you for a minute. Anyone know what happens to our trash? I see. Yeah.
It's incinerated or it's buried.
So the right answer is it's burned. It's converted to energy. We have 2 waste-to-energy plants in Palm Beach County. We are the envy of many communities, not only throughout Florida, but throughout the country and the world. People come here all over to see how we manage trash, which is an amazing thing. If you see the landfills, their legacy, what goes into them today is primarily ash, and we're working to reduce that as well. We've done a pilot program with the Florida Department of Transportation to use some of that ash material in the roadbeds, so that we'll be able to require that the ash be part of it, so even eliminating even more that would have gone into our landfill. Landfills are very expensive, both to operate, but also to acquire, and they don't last forever. So it's an important investment that we continue to make to keep our community clean and safe. And oh, by the way, the electricity that we create is used to run the Solid Waste Authority, but it also gets sold back to FPL. So we make, I don't want to say make money off of it, but we get a return. So as good stewards of your tax dollars, that gets reinvested back into our system. When we talk about our infrastructure, one of my things, and it wasn't mentioned, but my background's in technology. I started the computer industry in 1980. If anybody remembers those days, they threw the typewriters out and they said, stuck this thing on your desk and said, oh, this is your new tool. And we all had to learn about that. Well, my job was helping to write those programs initially, and then convincing everybody to spend their money on it. So, but look at the difference they've made in our lives from anywhere from our communications. But one of the things I've seen in Palm Beach County, and I see an opportunity for us, is using technology to help us move around better. Do you ever pull up to a stoplight and there's no cross traffic, and you're sitting there and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and you go, why doesn't the light change? Because we're still, in some cases, we're still using similar technology as we used 100 years ago, which is a timer that goes through a cycle. It doesn't matter if anybody's there or not there, it's going to run through that cycle, and we can do a lot better than that. There's a lot of work that's being done throughout the world, and I want to help make Palm Beach County at the forefront of those efforts so that we can move more easily in our community. We can't build roads everywhere. We can't just widen roads everywhere. We've got to think about new ways of doing things and moving ourselves around. So buses, and one of the things we're investing in is electric vehicles. for our transit system. We've improved the transit system, its on-time performance. We've eliminated some of the routes that were not popular and then took those resources and reinvested them in areas where we could make them more readily available. And you continue to see us working hard, not only in the county, but throughout our municipalities as well, and looking at how we move people around easier. How about the airport? Anybody go to Palm Beach International? Yeah. Isn't that a pleasure?
Yes.
It's one of the highest ranked airports in the country. It's small, it's easy, and it's ours. And we have the benefits of that, and we're seeing new carriers coming in, so that makes it a little bit easier for us to travel right out of Palm Beach County. We don't have to go down to Miami or to down to Fort Lauderdale. Right, so we can move out of here. So we're continuing to make investments there and promoting our airport as a great place to have an airline come in and give us service. And then I think, I want to talk, I guess, close with talking to you about, sort of what the future holds for us. And I will tell you, the future, I believe, is bright. Our story is yet to be fully written. And I see the story of Palm Beach County being a leader not only in the country, but in the world, and how we deal with some of the issues you have by having an industrialized society. Making sure that everybody has a safe place that they can afford to sleep. That we have excellent school systems. That we educate our people. And speaking of education, anybody hear about the University of Florida? Some little small school? Yeah. A couple of Gators there? Well, we're working on an opportunity right now. We took your property. This was because it was an asset that belonged to the taxpayers. And we have donated it to the University of Florida in conjunction with a private landowner and the city of West Palm Beach, so that they can create an urban graduate school right here downtown West Palm Beach, putting not only the county, all of South Florida on the map, because you know what it's right next to? Brightline and Tri-Rail. So people will be able to move easily back and forth from the south up to Palm Beach County and vice versa. But there will be a graduate school with some of the most innovative programs in the nation that will be housed here, right here in Palm Beach County. So it's important that we have a well-trained, well-educated workforce if we're going to continue to attract the kind of investment that's been happening, which has come. I mean, the moniker, the Wall Street of the South, that's no joke. We have seen these firms coming, whether it's from New York, Boston, Chicago, or Los Angeles, moving these money management firms, moving into Palm Beach County. When they come, they bring part of their workforce with them. They also, though, bring that innovation with them. And we're going to be the beneficiaries of that. So I don't know if we have time for questions or not, but I just can't tell you how proud I am to represent you on the county commission. It's been the greatest honor of my life to be able to serve my community in this way. And I think that we live in paradise, and I can't wait to see how our story ends. But I think it's going to be the brightest and best future for us all. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. There are so many things you've covered, and it's going to be a great year for you, I'm sure, as mayor. Just starting. I think that you've covered a whole lot, and I don't see anybody there with any questions. There's one back there. Let's see. From our, go ahead.
I'll make it brief.
Yeah, very brief. We got other speakers.
I'm a Palm Beach County resident. I appreciate all that you're doing. It's wonderful, all of the things that you talked about. I do have one question. Can you speak to us about the law that was passed
The question is, can I speak about what Tallahassee did requiring that reserves be fully funded? And there's a timeline on that as well. It's something that we obviously have concerns about for being your local representatives, and we are talking to the folks in Tallahassee and asking them for taking another look at this and delaying some of the requirements. But let's also understand how we got here too, which is, this tragedy in Surfside, which really brought to light the issue that had been going on in Florida for a long time, which was we had developments that were not reserving properly. They pushed it off every year, so that maintenance wasn't happening that needed to be done. And so we saw the tragedy in Surfside, and the legislature took action, both requiring the inspections on certain types of buildings in certain locations, and also about properly funding reserves. What we don't want to do is push people out of their homes to get those reserves funded right away. But we do need to make sure that the maintenance is actually happening. So it's a good question, but we are working hard, our legislative delegation, and we have lobbyists that we employ as well that are all working to get that message. And it's not coming just from Palm Beach County. I serve on the Florida Association of Counties on a number of committees, and the Florida Association of Counties has taken a position on it. I believe the League of Cities has also taken a position on it, because a lot of the buildings are also within are in incorporated areas as well. So it's a united front. We understand we don't want to have a hardship, but we also want to make sure everybody is safe and their buildings are well taken care of.
Thank you so much for attending today. And here's a little present from us.
Right, is this a gift, a reportable gift?
It's a reportable gift. It's our Special Alliance mug. Thank you so much. And Mayor Petrolia has been very gracious for agreeing to be second on the list of speakers. And she's also very gracious because she's allowing Vice Mayor Sachs, who just came in a few minutes ago, to speak before her. So we'll have a couple of minutes update for our District 5 from our District 5 Commissioner, Maria Sachs, and our new Vice Mayor, Maria Sachs.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm called the intermission between the two mayors. I'm the Vice Mayor of this wonderful, wonderful Palm Beach County. We are 1.5 million people in this county and growing every day. Do you know that 1,500 people come into the state of Florida every day? Every time it snows in Buffalo, we get another 500. So anyways, I am very honored to serve as Vice Mayor with our wonderful Mayor, Greg Weiss. And thank you, Greg, for that. I appreciate everything that you do for the county and for the people of the Alliance. In closing, let me say this. February 3rd, our Veterans Benefit Fair right here at the South County Civic Center. And also know that if you have any issues, especially it was brought up in the mayor's speech about safety and mental health, 7 veterans every day lose their lives. Not on the battlefield, but because of injuries, mental and emotional. So what we want to do on that Veterans Benefit Fair is make sure that every veteran deserves help. No matter if it's, sometimes you don't see the wounds, if the wounds are inside. And so if you know of a veteran, make sure you bring that person over to our benefits fair, because it's important that we reach out to them as not just as a county, but as Americans. So I want to thank you and wish you a Happy New Year, right? I'm looking forward to 2022. It's going to be wonderful. Thank you so much. And now we're going to move on to the mayor, next mayor. I am the intermission, as they say. And Happy New Year, and I'll see you real soon. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you so much for attending. A couple of words have been said about mental health today. just to give you a 1-minute history on these not-for-profits. Jerome Golden was a not-for-profit. There were only 2 not-for-profits in Palm Beach County, and the other one is South County Mental Health Center, which is located directly across from Walmart on Military Trail. I'm the president of South County Mental Health Center, and we went through that. Bob Schulbaum has been on the board, and he's past president of South County Mental Health Center. And we have had a tremendous couple of years dealing with handling the people, the residents, and the clients from Jerome Golden. We took them all in. And we also took over the Belle Glade. Jerome Golden had a presence in Belle Glade, and South County Mental Health Center did purchase the property, and we're also servicing the people out in Belle Glade. And we are now the only not-for-profit mental institution here in Palm Beach County. And everyone works so hard, from the administrator down to all the nurses, and it was difficult during COVID, but we did okay during COVID too. So thank the county, I thank the mayor and the vice mayor and the commissioners for actually helping the South County Mental Health Center. Wow, this is continuing to be an exciting, exciting morning. We have Mayor Shelley Petrolia. Now she is a Palm Beach County native. Yes, and she holds degrees from Florida State University in finance and risk management insurance. She served on the city commission. Now this is our city, Delray Beach, and many of us live in unincorporated Palm Beach County, and that's Greg Weiss is our mayor of unincorporated Palm Beach County. He was reelected by his district residents, and then the commissioners, the 7 commissioners, voted on who would be the next mayor and vice mayor, and that's how he was chosen. That's the way it's done in the Palm Beach County government. With Delray Beach, actually Shelley Petrolia ran on her own, and the whole community voted for whoever the next mayor was going to be. Before she ran for mayor in 2018, she spent 5 years already on the city commission. So she came with lots of experience. Please help me welcome Mayor Shelley Petrolia.
Thank you so much, Lori, and it is such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. First of all, just want to say I appreciate being invited here today to be able to speak before you. A little kind of a state of the city address is what I'm going to put up on the screen for you. But first I want to thank the board for inviting me here, and also ADT for supplying the refreshments for everybody who decided to arrive here. And also my support staff. As you can see, we have someone down here, Mr. Raphael, we've got Fernando, and we also have the IT director in the back, Mr. Jay Stacy. So he's waving his hand back there. We really appreciate everything you're doing for us. So without further ado, because I know it's getting a little long and I know people have things to do, I just wanted to start off with, first of all, letting you know that I am Shelley Petrolia, Mayor of Delray Beach. I'm serving my 11th year, going into my 11th year of serving for the city of Delray Beach. And just very briefly, just so people understand, because most don't, Delray Beach is, the city incorporated, is pretty much east of Military Trail. That's almost the line of demarcation. There's a couple of little cutouts here and there on the inside and the outside that we have as the city, and vice versa. So that's kind of the line. If you're west of that, you're going to be speaking with my colleague who is just up here, a fellow mayor for the county. Otherwise, in the inside of Military Trail, pretty much you're going to be speaking to me, as long as you're not across the borders of Boynton and Boca. So that's kind of where we stand. We're a very small city of about 4 miles by 4 miles, so it's not large, and you know, we're doing a lot in such a small space. People don't realize that you know, we can't have a pickleball stadium and all these different things that people want. We just don't have the space. In fact, we're about probably 5 to 6% built out in our city. That's amazing. So that lets you know kind of what is going on in Delray Beach. So I'm going to start with the first slide. Next slide, please. During COVID, I mentioned, there was a couple of mentions up here about don't forget COVID. Don't forget COVID. It's still happening, and I'm really proud to see a lot of people wearing masks. I wear them when I go to the main places, like going to the Publix and things like that, just to try to keep myself safe and my family. I also am a mother, just so you know. I have Florida and Florida State students. I've got 3 of my kids at Florida State. I'm a graduate of Florida State, and 1 is a University of Florida student. So there's 2 of them that are going to be graduating this year, so I'm very excited to have a couple of them kind of matriculating out of my alma mater. So during COVID, it was a very interesting time for every city. There was nothing that we knew to do. There was no pamphlet that you could go to, or figuring out what do you do during this time. And usually the way governments work is it starts from the top. The national speaks to the state, which speaks to the counties, which speaks to the municipalities, the cities. And we usually get direction coming in that way. But there was a void, because there was really, nobody knew what to do. And as a result, everything happens on a local level. And you started to see things taking place that we had to react to, but we really didn't have the direction coming from the top down, because everybody was kind of like going, I don't really know what to do in this situation. So it was really, everybody on the grassroots level had to start figuring out, what do we do? And so our biggest concern at this time was, as we were locking down as a nation, what do we do about the businesses that are not going to make it, or how do we help them make it? Delray Beach was a leader in that. We basically got together, there were 4 women in these 4 very important positions that got together almost like on I think it was like maybe a couple-week basis. This was the CRA, which is our Community Redevelopment Agency, Renee Jaddison, our Chamber of Commerce Director, who was Stephanie Immelman, myself, and also the DDA, which is our Downtown Development Authority Director, Laura Simon. We got together to figure out how can we help the people that are going to need the help in order to be able to stay in business, because we knew that the after effect of this was going to be shocking to our town, absolutely shocking. This is where we're deriving a lot of our income. This is where our taxes are coming in. This is where our energy is happening in our cities. So what we did was we relaxed signage. We created more parking right in front to be able to pick up, take out meals, so that people who are driving by could come in and grab a meal. There were people that were almost like local heroes that decided to crowd fund our businesses, especially our restaurant businesses. And what they did was this. They found out that businesses like our restaurants couldn't predict how many people were going to be able to come in, or were coming in on any given time. So sometimes they would have a lot of people and they'd run out of food. Other times they had nobody and they had to throw the food out. And that was a double whammy on these businesses that were really hurting. So locals came together and they said, okay, this is the business we're going to crowdfund this week, and it's going to be on Tuesday night. So that business knew, that restaurant knew that they should prepare about 200 to 300 meals, and people would come in and grab those meals, and that really helped that business. They could rely on that to get them through the rest of the week and know that they got that crowdfunding. So we did things locally on the ground level, the grassroots level, to really help that. We also allowed for a lot more outdoor seating, because that was the way that we could actually get together. So Delray Beach was also instituting early masking. When you were going to your grocery stores, and I had comments from people were yelling at me from the county going, you know, there's people at Publix, they don't have masks on, but they didn't realize that, you know, our town and our jurisdiction ends at Military Trail. So, but we were having people have to wear masks when they were going out, because we recognized this is something that's contagious. And then after everything opened up, the mask mandate went away in Delray Beach, but then it was adopted on a more broad scale across the county and state. So that actually was a really good thing that we started doing at the very beginning. And we also made sure that we released some restrictions to making sure that people could stay open. And what did that do? That sparked people moving their businesses here. So we did lose some businesses, but with those businesses that were going, there were people already lining up during COVID to come in and work in Delray Beach. We actually had a massive, national headquarters move here, International Metals Incorporated. They moved right in the middle of COVID. And it was just amazing to me that we were actually getting so much business coming in during a time when a lot of people were shutting down. Next slide. So the businesses now, as a result, partially of what we did, are booming. I mean, honestly, it's, yes, okay. Our rental rates are reflective of those that are down on Worth Avenue. I cannot believe that Atlantic Avenue rental rates compete with Worth Avenue rental rates. That's how incredibly popular and in demand Delray is. We also had a tremendous number of people flooding into our area, new residents coming into South Florida from more restrictive areas, mostly Northeast, but we did get a tremendous flow. A lot of people say, well, we don't have enough housing. You know what, we're never going to have enough housing. This is paradise after all. And when people realize that they're all moving here. And I just want to say that whenever somebody moves in, somebody moves out, okay? That's kind of how it works. So it's not like there are people coming in and they got nowhere to go. They're buying houses, but that's causing that value of our city's housing prices to go up incredibly to the point where it's imbalanced right now. We are so far outside of what the normal person can afford that if you were thinking about moving here, you're probably not going to be living in Delray Beach just because the value is so expensive, the pricing is so high. Luckily you're here and you can stay, and we've got that portability, and we've got the Save Our Home, so it keeps our taxes lower. But that will all work out, just like everything else. It all kind of like comes out in the wash. It will adjust, and we're seeing some softening now, which is important. Next slide. So once COVID passed, we got back down to business. And after spending 10 years as commissioner and mayor, one of the things that I felt we needed to do, and thank you for Jay Stacy coming in to join us as our IT director. We are automating things in Delray, and this is something that should have been done a long time ago, but it wasn't, a priority. We're doing automatic permitting. There's a big backup in Delray if anybody needs to get a pool or wants to have a pool or even get a water heater. It's a backlog. So some of that is going to become extremely easy. It's going to be able to be done right online. There's no reason why we need to go through months of waiting for somebody to get something done. So we're actually automating that. We're also doing auto pay, which I don't understand how people who are living here part-time and then went away could even pay for the things that they needed to pay for when you have to walk in and pay your bills. So that's actually been launched as well. When I first came in, just so you understand, this was 2013, we were on green screen technology. The city of Delray Beach had missed the opportunity, the window of opportunity of moving into, the 21st century of IT. And as a result, it's been very, very difficult because we didn't do it during the time that it was happening. It was very difficult to get it to now. So that's the reason why it's taken so long, but we're getting there and we're almost there, thanks to our IT department. We're also getting a new app for reporting. So on your phone, you'll be able to report to the city a sinkhole or a pothole in your street or something that needs to be done, instead of calling up your mayor who has nothing to do with the operations of the town, and then I've got to get it to the right people, and it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's so, distant. It takes time to get it to that person. Getting it to directly to the right person through technology is what we're working on getting done, and that's happening now. We just, I think, opened that up, in December. We also have a big influence right now on IT and the security of trying to keep everything from these predators that are out there trying to get into our systems. And IT has our IT department has these special programs that we go on every single month in order to be able to make ourselves aware of how people are phishing employees and elected officials to get into our system, which can really hurt and, you know, cost a lot of money. If you've seen some other cities that have had to pay ransom to get their information back. So our IT department is very aware of it and working on it. We also have a very old water treatment facility that basically is seen better days, but it still works and it's still doing its job. A lot of people don't want you to realize that. The water's a little, sometimes if you fill up a bathtub, you'll see a little tint of green or yellow. That's the natural tannins coming through the water. It's nothing harmful. But people are demanding clearer, better water, and I understand that. It's an old system that was put in probably 50, 60 years ago that we need to update. So we actually are moving forward on a brand new water treatment facility, and what a perfect time to do it. The FDA is right now changing their numbers, their acceptable numbers in what are called those forever chemicals that are leached down into our groundwater. So it's not just the city of Delray Beach, it's anybody who's drawing from that aquifer below. They are actually going to make it more stringent so that less of those are going to be acceptable. And as a result of us doing this, this facility right now, it's perfect timing. We're not going to have to go back and readjust or change things, membranes or whatever they do. We're going to be able to build that facility that's going to be in line with what the EPA is going to be requiring of us moving forward. And we're also focusing on our parks. Our biggest community park is Pompey Park, and it's older too, and we're doing a brand new park at Pompey. This is scheduled for the summer of, to break ground the summer of 2023. And if anybody goes there for the community services or programming, you're not going to have a gap. We're going to keep the current park in place and operational, and then what we're doing is we're building a new facility, not on the same footprint, in order to be able to continue to serve our population during the time of construction. So those are some of the really exciting things that we are doing. We also have a golf course, if you can go to slide 4, I think. Yeah, okay, that's fine. The golf course that we're going to be updating, that's been a need for a very long period of time. And it also has a legacy element to it that we need to make sure that we keep and protect. We have not had a presentation yet on exactly what this golf course is going to look like, but that's coming very shortly. And there's probably going to be some changes that are going to be updating and upgrading the entire facility. We might even move the facility. These are kind of the words out on the street. I have not been privy to any presentations at this point in time, but again, we're moving forward. We're in the planning stages of a new fire station on Linton. So I was just seeing that there's another Linton station going in west. So there's 2 stations, I guess, that are going to be almost simultaneously going in. And not only that, but we are doing some planning. If you could go to the 5, I don't know if you're on that. No, go backwards. The planning stages of our police station and our city hall and all of our fire stations. We want to make sure that once I'm walking out of the door in another year or a little over, that we have the plans in place for what is going to be happening next. And that's something that, unfortunately, I didn't come into. Everything was just kind of willy-nilly. Nobody was, it was just kind of like whoever was the squeakiest wheel got the grease. And that's not a way to run a city. You want to make sure that you're running a city with the plans in place so that the people who are coming up behind you know exactly what they're doing next. It makes it much easier for those that are coming in behind. So we've got a bunch of plans going on for City Hall, for the fire stations all across the city as they're needed, and a new police station. And then we also are trying to preserve what is so valuable to Delray Beach, and that is our downtown. If anybody drives through our downtown for the first time, it's almost like they wonder, what happened here? How did this get left behind? We've got older storefronts, smaller businesses, and kind of mom and pop shops along our downtown. But it's a vibrant city that is just pulsing with just attitude and excitement. And so we've got this really great situation going on down there that I don't want to see, and I don't think anybody in our city wants to see disrupted. To make sure that we don't have people coming from other areas that decide that, 6, 8, 10-story buildings are what is needed in our downtown. That's not what we need. I know Boca does that, and they're successful with it, but we've got a real, interesting, inviting downtown, and we all want to keep it that way. So to put an overlay on that part of our city, as we have in our historic districts, is important to me, so that we can make sure that that is passed on to the next generation and the next generation. It's very important to make sure that you are not the catalyst to changing something that people kind of look back on and regret. So let's move on to the final, which is, Old School Square. I guess there's one more after this. Old School Square has a lot of, there's been a lot of talk about it. And let me just settle everybody's, anybody's concern. It's not going anywhere. We're not building condos. We're not going to make it into another, strip center. And it's not going to be a big box, store. These are all things that are circulating out there. The only thing that happened was that the previous management that was there was not doing their job on a financial level. And so basically they were not giving us the reports that are required for the money that we were giving them, the taxpayer money. It's so important when you give up taxpayer money and it's earmarked for certain things and it's spent on those things. Well, if you can't prove it and you're not getting the documentation to show that that's where that money is being spent, you got a problem. And you can't sit back and say, they've been around for 30 years, so let's just, give it a pass. It's not the way you run government. People have to be accountable to taxpayer money. And it is these positions that are filled by your electeds that are required to make sure that people are being accountable to your money that's being spent. So that was the issue. We asked and begged and pleaded for this information. We couldn't get it. So we decided to move on and just get another group in to run the whole thing. Right now, the city is doing it through their Parks and Rec department, and they're doing an awesome job. We're getting our free concerts in the evening on Friday nights. We've got the tree up. We've had all sorts of things happening there. We're going to continue to have that happen. Now the DDA, our Downtown Development Authority, there's nobody with more skin in the game in the downtown area than our Downtown Development Authority. They stepped in, and they're kind of managing our Cornell Museum. In fact, they just opened up with a new exhibit, a brand new exhibit. It's a surfing exhibit, and also with some skateboard, skateboard exhibit and some local artists. It's free, guys. It's a great thing to go down and take a look at when you're going down to have a meal or walk around the tree before they, I think they're going to be taking it down soon, but anyway, it's wonderful just to be able to stroll through the Cornell Museum and see the exhibit. So what we're trying to do with what we call our Central Park is make it more accessible and inclusive to everybody, so that you're not having to walk in and pay $20 to go see something that you feel like, I don't know why I paid $20 to go in to do that. Come in and see our museum, come enjoy our grounds, and everybody will be included and welcome. Finally, last slide, we are all about infrastructure. That's one of the things that when I first came in, I was just appalled that we had no plans for anything. So we have been working on our roads and sidewalks and our lighting, our drainage. We are working on George Bush Boulevard, the bridge, thank you to the county. We had a bridge out for over, I guess it was a couple of months, and that's going to be in the process of being fixed. George Bush Boulevard is being worked on. Grant Road and the Grant Road Bridge. We also, if you're around Lowson Boulevard, you know that we've got these huge sidewalks that are pedestrian and bicycle friendly that are going to be extending all the way from pretty much Dover Street, which is just inside of military, all the way down to Federal Highway, making it much safer for people to be able to walk and ride your bikes through the city of Delray Beach at the same time, really offering the residents a higher quality of life. And we also I think, let's see here, we also are working on North Swinton. We worked on South Swinton, we did a beautiful job there, and a lot of this money is coming through the TPA, which is our Transportation Planning Authority. That's money that we get through the county that comes back to us, and the state comes back to each of our cities. So with that, we're moving forward and making sure that our infrastructure is ready for the future onslaught of everybody that's living here and moving into our area, and we're very excited. And you know, I know that my colleague before me just he stole my thunder. I said this is what I have written down. We have a bright future that lies ahead for us, but the future depends on good, solid leadership. Never forget that. So make a difference by making your vote count. When it comes to the time to get to those polls, make sure you know who you're voting for, and make sure that you're voting on somebody that's got your ideas in mind for representing you. Because there's nothing worse than to vote for somebody that comes in and does the exact opposite of what you guys want. So do your diligence. Because our quality of life here in South Florida is depending on you, and especially in Delray Beach. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Wow, that was a terrific presentation. Thank you so much.
A lot.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Somebody has a question there.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Hi, how are you? I'm Jody Lindell. I've taken many classes at the Old School Square.
Yes.
And I know those are no longer. Are you planning on bringing those back?
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm very glad that you mentioned that. We have art classes that will be reinstituted, but here's the problem.
I know we've lost a lot of the instructors to Boca,
Right.
and we'd like to see those come back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We first have to get Old School Square in a situation that's habitable, because right now you can't walk in there. It's a construction site. That's how it was left. So we're in the process of getting it put back together. It should be by the fall that we get it put back together, and that's when we will go backwards and institute the classes that you're used to and have seen before. And of course, we have people that are going to be reaching out to the very teachers that taught the students in the past to bring them back in. There's no reason why we can't have that happening again, and it will happen, I promise you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor Petrolia. And again, we have for you this very special Alliance coffee mug that you can keep on your desk.
Looks like a big coffee mug.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Everyone, what a great program. Remember, putting a face on Palm Beach County. Thank you to everyone. Thank you. And Mayor Weiss is still here. Great. If anybody has a question, I'm sure they can take a few minutes here. And remember, next month is going to be extra special. One of the most special events we've ever had. See you then.